Hey, yo, it's The Building Downtown. You can follow us on social media at The Billion DT. You can follow and subscribe to the show on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm your host, Jason Kelly. You can follow me at JKellyMMA. Our co-host, Kirill Kasatskiy at Kirill Raps. And what's that?
I said, what
Fucked up my intro. We'll keep it moving. And today we got a guy who's just carving out his niche, his own little corner in the hip hop world. Goes by the name Cosigner. How's it going today, my man?
Hey, it's blessed to be here with both of you. Thank you so much for having me. This interview is well anticipated. So yeah, I'm here to get down with y'all. Let's do it.
Certainly, man. We're excited. Yeah. We're excited. So I know a little bit about you from what I've looked up on the internet and a little bit from what Kirill has told me.
Yeah.
So this good thing about this is it gives such a open area to paint your story, right? And tell your story out here. So before we get into everything you got going on today, let's take it way, way back. Where are you from? From what I understand, Toronto?
No, I'm originally from Montreal.
Okay.
I started my career as a rapper in Montreal. That was my first venture into hip hop, was as an artist. I started back in about '83, where things were a little bit more difficult for Canadian, artists to kind of break through in those days. The doors are a little bit more wide open now. But back then, we were putting in the good fight, trying to make it happen. And I spent almost 4 decades, out there grinding it out and putting it in work. And, I just loved it. I loved performing. I loved being on stage, interacting with the people and all of that. And, I met a lot of cool people over those years of being an artist, all over Canada, basically. And so for me, that's where it kind of starts. I start as an artist, '83. I'm in Montreal, basically trying to create a reputation for myself. And that's where things kind of, go from there. Now, the story bounces all around because, I end up in Toronto for a bit. I'm in Vancouver for a bit. I'm in Halifax for a bit and Ottawa for a bit. And the thing is, no matter where I went, over those years, music was always right there with me. So the voyage definitely starts off for me on a rapping tip with me as an MC. But over time, other things developed. I was fortunate enough to be brought into some projects, and I was asked to be a songwriter on some things that were happening, and that ended up turning out very well for me. The album did very well and broke a bunch of records where I'm from and stuff like that. And the role that I played in that particular project enabled me to, or allow me to get gold and platinum plaques, which were a really cool thing because everybody they want the those plaques hanging on their wall.
Which record was that?
That was for a group. I did songwriting for a group called Dubmatic, and they came out a while back, and they just like kind of stormed through Quebec. They were really on fire in Quebec. They did big numbers in Quebec in those days, and I was allowed to go along for part of the ride with them, and that was kind of my first taste of what any kind of real stardom looked like. And it may not have been as a rapper because I was songwriting on this particular project, but the people that were involved in the project, they were rapping, and the beats were hip hop, and so all of that stuff was in a hip hop kind of thing. So for me, it was just great to be around that and just to be able to see how, a successful project is built, to be there from the inception when everybody's saying, I hope this thing works.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows, right?
Nobody knows at that point.
It feels like it's gonna work, and you never fucking
like
know. It might flop dead.
It could flop dead. The music could be great, but there could be other things circumstantially, that are holding the project back. Sometimes it's politics, sometimes it's other things, but nonetheless, we were able to kind of cut through the fog there. And the album, like I said, did very well. I think it still holds the record today in Quebec.
Wow,
nice. biggest selling hip hop album by a Canadian group in the province.
Wow,
and in Canada, if I'm not mistaken, because stats do change, but the last time that I did look at the record book, it was the second highest grossing selling album in Canadian history by a
Whoa.
Canadian rap group with a Canadian deal. So
Oh, wow.
there are other guys outside the country in America, let's say Drake, for example.
Yeah.
who is
That doesn't even
Canadian.
count.
No,
Yeah,
I'm talking about
yeah.
people that are literally that were signed in
Yeah.
Canada.
In the country. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
in the
numbers in
country
Canada,
by
right?
exactly by a Canadian, whether it was production house, record company, label,
Mhm.
but it was a Canadian infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
So that whole situation was, was a really, like I said, great opportunity for me to kind of see how the game was played out from, beginning to end. Because like I said, I watched this project from the inception, all the
Mhm.
way till it was done. And the funny thing is I had moved away. I had moved to Toronto at that point when the album had come out. So I did my work, but it
Mhm.
takes some time for the album to gain
Yep.
momentum, and you got to do promotion, publicity, all that
For
stuff.
sure.
So I had moved away to Toronto at that point, and about 6 months later, I get a call from the gentleman who brought me in on the project, and he's like, "Do you know? Have you heard?" I'm like, "Heard what? What's going on?" I don't have a clue. I kind of, not to say lost touch with Montreal, but I just was really busy when I was in Toronto. And yeah, I did kind of lose touch, but not in a bad way. So
Mhm.
6 months go by now. I'm getting this call, and he's telling me, asking me, "Have you heard what's going on?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know. I don't know anything, And he goes, "Yeah, the record just went gold." I
Nice.
said, "What?"
Ooh.
I said, "Where are the checks? Where are the checks?"
That's right. I was about to
Oh,
say
he
that
said,
the
"Don't
money
worry,
came.
they're coming. They're coming." And he was right about that. They did come. And then he contacted me back again about, I think it was about 4 months later after that, maybe not even that long, and basically said to me that, "Oh, we just went platinum."
Nice.
So
Wow.
that was, like I said, a really cool experience. I'm sitting in Toronto and thinking about, wow, just reflecting back on what kind of took place during the whole process. And, for me, that was pivotal because this business is about resumes. When you're dealing with people that don't know you,
Yep.
right? It's your first time experience. Well, if they're going to look to do business with you, they often will reflect on a resume of some kind to
Mhm.
kind of, see what you've done. And most importantly, what you've accomplished,
Mhm.
right? They want to know, what are your big moments? What are your peaks? What
Yep.
does it really look like for you, right? And being able to add that to the resume
Mhm.
did really cool things for me.
I
It,
bet.
Oh,
it kind
definitely.
of, yeah, it caused people to kind of have to take me differently now,
Mhm.
because everybody kind of knew, especially where I was from, about this project. And they had no choice but to kind of recognize the role that I had kind of played in it, because there was 13 songs on the album. I was basically brought in by my man DJ Choice to do any R&B writing that needed to be done for the hooks, and to also supervise the singers that were going to be brought in, basically.
Mhm.
So that's exactly what I did. And the three songs that I worked on were the three songs that
So do
really
you
took off on
Nice.
on the album.
do you have some sort of a musical education, musical background, or did you?
No, that's an interesting question, and I can appreciate you asking it,
Because well,
because
because you're talking about gearing singers, right? So you got to understand what notes are, what octaves are,
you're
what's right.
absolutely right. And the interesting thing is that, no, at that time I had no formal training. But the
Really?
one thing that I did have that still to this day probably works very strongly in my favor is an ear.
Yeah.
I
Well,
had
that's
a,
the most important thing,
had a
obviously.
good ear, a good
Of course.
judgment when it came for certain things, and when it came to hooks,
Mhm.
I could do them very quickly. I once worked for a company where I had to deliver 500 hooks a week.
Jesus.
What
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fuck?
500 hooks a week, and I didn't work weekends.
Wow.
Yeah,
What is
so
it?
what
What
I
is it?
would
You think
What
it
is a
was
gig?
boxing?
What does a gig like that pay? You don't have to give me the exact number, but is that
no,
a
you
good
know
paying
what? The
gig?
funny thing is, it didn't pay nowhere near enough, and
Wow.
I left almost instantly. I was on a different perception. I
Yeah.
did it for a couple of weeks until I found out that the pay was peanuts,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Fuck this.
are these people crazy? So I didn't stay long, But I did put out about 3 weeks of 500 songs or hooks, sorry.
Oh man.
Because they didn't care about the beats. They just cared about the lyrics and the
Mhm.
melodies.
Mhm.
So what I would do is basically I'd take basically a bunch of different beats that I like. So I need 100 hooks that day. I'm gonna take 10 different beats that I really, really like that I can just continue to write to over and over and over and just keep coming up with new approaches. So I get 10 different approaches from that beat, another 10 from that beat, and then record each approach really quickly. So because I'll lose the melody as I move on to the next one. So I gotta record. That's the only tedious part of it. Because I could bang them out quick.
That's some sort of a conveyor belt of hooks.
Oh my gosh. And the people that I was doing it with, they were a conveyor belt. So you nailed right on the head when you said that, right? But again, learning experience. Because that would become valuable to me later on when there were certain things that I needed to be able to do. Maybe not produce 500 hooks for something, but being able to create. So let's say, for example, because later on, I went on to do other things. And let's say I was working with an artist later on, and we were working on a hook section. I might want to go through 15, 20, 25 hooks to find the one, because I find a lot of artists, what happens is they hear something good and they kind of dwell on it, because they think it's the right thing, because it kind of sounds okay, seems to be contributing to the song somewhat. And then they believe from there, the next step is to just perfect it. Okay, let's figure out how to, tighten it up and make it work at its best. But that's not always true.
And then just dance around the one thing. Yeah.
That's right. And sometimes there are stronger combinations and formulas of music that you just haven't tried yet, because you settled at the first good thing you hear.
I remember
another thing is this: it's not always about what you're hearing. The content, for example. Okay.
Yeah.
What happens if the content doesn't match the marketing criteria of the artist that's delivering it?
Yeah.
This all has to be checked, and it all has to run in accordance with because the thing is that the song may be great, but if it misrepresents the artist, because that's not really who the artist is that song really good for that artist? No, not really. These things need to be scrutinized. Branding and marketing need to be established, way before. I tell people, before you even pick up the pen and write a song, you have to know who you are. You have to know who you are, because if you don't know who you are and what you stand for and what you're about as a person, how are you going to know it musically?
Yeah.
Because you can't just create this persona. Nobody wants a persona. They want something real. They're not looking for animated rappers, cartoon rappers. They're looking for real rappers with real stories, real background, real history that have something to say.
Yep.
There's a message. There's something coming out of that rapper's mouth that basically represents that rapper articulately, correctly, and profusely. And basically, and that just resonates with people that can relate to those ideologies.
Yeah.
That can understand, he's talking about something that's relatable. They're going to get on board, especially if it's presented with good music.
After all of this, you're in Montreal, you're in Toronto, you're doing things. Obviously, that's the great thing with the album there. And then in the midst of all of this, the reason I want to ask this is because that's the person I met you through. In all of this, I know you met Mark, and both of you guys put in some great work together. You've accomplished some things. Can we touch on that? Because I want to touch on my boy.
First of all, big shout out to Mark, because without Mark, I would not know you. My man, I would not be sitting down to have this wonderful opportunity.
Well, thanks to Mark.
Thanks to Mark.
Mark's my boy.
Now, Mark, I met Mark in Kitchener. I think the year was 2006, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow.
Now, mind you, I had just moved to the area, and it was kind of coincidental. I didn't really plan to move to the Tri-Cities where Mark was, but just the way things kind of played out, I ended up there. So while I was out there, basically one of the first things, so there was a lot of battles going on in that region at the time, right? And I kind of felt, well, I have a battle background history, because in my day of rapping, you had to be a battle rapper almost too.
Yeah.
At the same time as being a rapper that released music. You didn't have this division like you have now today, where battle rappers do battle rap most of the time.
For sure. Yeah.
Rappers rap. Yep.
It was integrated into the system.
Yep.
So during the course of my day, I had done, I think when I tallied it up at the end of the day, my battle record was 101, 2 and either 2-2 or 2-3.
Okay.
So I was just like ripping through people left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And the guys that beat me, most of them, there was very few, but the guys that beat me, they were big name people. Belly was one of them. I still say it's a very controversial situation.
Yeah.
I fucks with Belly heavy.
One of them, and the other one for me that wasn't controversial is a guy by the name of Kid Twist.
I was just gonna fucking ask you about that. We had
Kid
Twist on the
Twist.
show last year, man. Twist is dope.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
said to Krill, I was like, this video was posted 14 years ago. So it was at least that long ago. Almost anyone in the world is fucked against Kid Twist 14 years ago.
Let me tell you something. The funny thing is that, so Mark, now to go back to Mark for a second, because he's extremely relevant here. Mark calls me and tells me, Chuck, there's an opportunity to battle some dudes in Toronto. It's $1,000 first prize.
Mhm.
He didn't know any of the artists that were involved,
Mhm.
but he knew what the prize was. And he knew what I just finished doing in Kitchener and Waterloo, because I was undefeated there. I came into that area as a guy that was unknown
Mhm.
and basically won every competition that I was in. So he thought that, I would have a chance. He knew what my record was. And he's like, we should go to Toronto, and basically make this happen. So with 4 days notice, basically we get entered into this thing. I'm trying to write rhymes at the last minute, trying to write them, memorize
them, yeah.
deliver them, with 4 days notice.
Against Kid Twist.
Exactly. And I think I need about 10 verses. You know what I mean? Just on standby. Like if I need to go to freestyle, I'll be okay because I'm pretty good there. But if it requires me to really deliver written bangers, well, I need to have stuff that's available and on point for this event. So, I kill myself to try to get ready for this thing and I go down. Okay. So in this battle, some interesting people. So Organik was in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just talked to him last week. Shout
Yeah,
out
we
to
said
Organik.
Organik.
This is what I'm saying. So Organik's in it. This is the first time I actually battled Organik. That was one of the first times.
Oh shit.
I battled them all. I battled Organik, I battled PoRich, and I battled Kid Twist.
Yeah, I saw the Twist and PoRich.
All in the same night. Now,
that was the same night.
All in the same night.
That's a busy fucking night, man. Because
Oh, yeah,
PoRich is no joke either.
This shit was like, you remember what UFC used to be like back in the days?
Yeah, man.
Before just one fight, you had to like
you had to fight
weight limits, no nothing.
Yeah.
Like just fucking go.
Royce Gracie fought 5 fights in one night to win a championship.
Yeah, man.
This is what this was like.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, so we gotta go through all these rounds, and me and Kid Twist make it to the finals. So I was able to get by PoRich, got by Organik. Now me and Kid Rich are going at it. Now, here's the thing. With all the wins I have under my belt, when it comes to losing, I have this thing. If you lose, you lose.
Yeah.
You got to take it like a man.
Yeah.
Because I want my victory when I win.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? It's just simple like that. So you get your ass kicked out there.
Yeah.
The same rule applies to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get your ass kicked. You got to take it with a grain of salt. So in this particular situation, that's kind of what happened, because to be honest with you, I wasn't used to battling on time clocks. It was the first time I ever did it. I'm used to having unlimited range. I've battled people for 2 hours.
Oh my God.
Like that's what it took to put them in the concrete.
Oh my God. No.
Seriously. Yeah. So when they put me on, there was 2 things that happened in this battle I didn't like, but I had to deal with it, and I had to accept the loss when I lost. Was I just had random beats thrown at me. Wasn't really feeling them. And the fact that I was on a 45-second clock you know, and it was a 2 out of 3 situation, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So in the end, Kid Twist showed up and basically did a tsunami on me, you know.
At least you're
And
honest.
yeah, no, he did a tsunami on me. I'll tell you right now, because like I said, if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. And as much as I made it to the finals,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't win that day. So I got to give Kid Twist, you know, his props. Because like I say, my battle record out of 105, I won 101.
That's fucking good. That's very
You know
good.
what I mean? So,
especially back then, that was fucking killers. That was still the era, like you said before, right? Where you had to be able to make music and battle. Like if you were a rapper, you already knew how to fucking battle, right? You know how to contribute to a cipher, whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
Like, Kid Twist was that one of the guys at the top of that mountain at one time. Fuck, we were talking to this guy. You know who Lush One is?
No, I don't know Lush.
Okay, he's a guy that has to do with battle rap from the States, and he did some stuff with KOTD, but recently separated. Anyway, that doesn't matter. He was saying to us, because he's from California, back in like the mid 2000s, Kid Twist was the guy they were all afraid of in the States. They were like, I do not want that fucking Canadian coming down here.
You know what? I'll say this much about him. It's funny because after that loss, I'm vindictive. Okay, like I'm not. So, like for example, Belly. Not to say that Belly had anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Himself personally, because I don't really believe he did. He was on stage with me, and he didn't know who he was facing. So you remember Jin from 106 and PoRich?
Yeah, of course.
So he came to Ottawa, where I was at the time living, and basically did I Challenge the City thing.
Oh, wow.
So there was an event basically where the city basically battled it out amongst themselves, and the winner got to battle Jin. So Belly and me are the first guys up the plate. Now you got to understand, at this point, I don't know Belly from a hole in the ground. I've never met the guy before. I've never heard of him. But one thing I can tell you for sure, because I remember it like it was yesterday, he was getting a reaction from the crowd. Like the event hadn't started yet. They just called us up on stage. The music was off. And they were waiting to get organized to start the event. So in that minute, let's say, while we were just standing there with no music, there's people in the first 5 or 6 rows like chanting this guy's name.
Oh, fuck.
So I'm like, my first thought is basically, okay, I got to be dealing with one of the best rappers in the city. Because no, you don't just get that kind of crowd support.
Ottawa, isn't he?
No.
Say that again. Yeah, he's from Ottawa. This is where this happened.
Yeah,
this is where this happened.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm like, oh, this guy that I'm facing, he has to be deadly, because the whole first half of the audience was literally screaming for him before things started. And then at one point, he looked at me and went like this. He pulled one of these, and then hold on, and then you know, like when wrestlers go up on the top rope and incite the crowd.
Yeah.
He pulled one of those without the top rope. Okay, like these people, when he did this to me, and then went to the audience like this, it went nuts. I said, okay, it's not my first rodeo. Okay, I have got to go now to overvote, because the thing is, I don't know who this guy is, but he definitely has the crowd behind him, and that's a problem right out the gate.
Big time.
So I have this run. I normally wouldn't do this, but I didn't like the odds, right? That were against me before the thing even started.
You got to even out the playing field.
I didn't like it. So basically what I did was, I said, okay, I got a battle rap that I know that I used before, but it was in another city for somebody else. Okay. I mentally just reworded it quickly. To accommodate for this guy in front of me, Belly. Okay? And I brought it. Now, here's the thing. My opinion is only my opinion, right? But I've won a lot of battles. I've been involved in a lot of battles, and I know when I've lost, right? In this case, I didn't feel like I lost, but I felt like I was outnumbered. And I felt like I was kind of.
It could also be close, right?
Yeah, like, and I felt like, and another thing, it's not my hometown, right? I'm in his hometown.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
And Belly demands presence. You know, he's a showman, right?
Yeah, and he just got out of high school in these days, right? So I think he had just graduated the summer before, and he had the whole high school. That was anybody that was of age that could get in.
Yeah.
All the senior class, they were all there, right? So when I lost, I took it very badly, and it turned into Tupac and Biggie.
Oh,
Literally,
fuck.
yeah. For the next year and a half, it was nothing but problem. Because see, the thing was,
I hope it's good now.
I couldn't get a fair fight. So here's the thing. So
Now we're into fighting.
I can't get a fair fight, and it's making me more mad, right? So the fact people are telling me, just accept it. You lost one. Get over it. No, I didn't. Like I'm like, no, I know when I lost. It didn't feel to me like I lost. Not only that, like I said, I brought out heavy artillery
Yeah.
for this guy. Like just stuff that will just murder and eat through things like ether. I brought out the biggest guns I had, and they were pretty big.
Yeah.
So the fact that the fight looked lopsided when it really couldn't have been.
So how does
really
it end?
based on the type of artillery. Not only that, I heard what he did, and you really couldn't hear what he was saying because the crowd was too busy screaming.
Oh, fuck.
Right? Like they were like anything that came out of
Yeah.
So I couldn't even really tell what he was saying against me. I don't know if they could tell, because I couldn't from where I was standing, right?
Yeah, a few feet from him, right?
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
But now here's the thing. The city gives him the win. So I got to give him the win.
Yeah.
Because that's how the game is played. And as a rapper, right, I always have I can always bring it back to the Court of Appeals. Hip hop loves that shit. You know what I mean? Like hip hop loves that shit. I can bring that shit back to the Court of Appeals. And that's exactly what I did. Everywhere I went in Ottawa, the only thing that came out of my mouth was belly killer, prophet slayer. That's it. That's it. That's it. Because for me, I felt cheated.
Yeah.
And that made me vindictive. Like I've lost before, and I wasn't chasing those people. I gave them the win.
Yeah.
Even when I felt like I could have beat Kid Twist, if I had been more prepared, I still gave him the win. 100%. This one didn't feel so good.
Yeah. The way the material stacked up.
It just didn't feel so good. And
So
honestly,
how does it end? I hope nobody got hurt.
oh my gosh. So nobody got hurt.
Good.
There were situations that got close. So the thing was, I put pressure on him after that. I put pressure on him and basically went for the jugular vein. I started going around to local radio and basically discussing the situation. And I basically said, look, here's what the idea is behind this. Okay. The idea is very, very simple. Okay. Bring this guy. Let's get him out. Okay. Let's just get him out. Because when we get him out, I am going to destroy him in a way that is going to be a spectacle. This thing is going to be like fireworks going off. It's going to be just get your popcorn, put your feet up. You understand? Like this is going to be a moment to remember.
Yeah.
I'm going on radio shows, freestyling. Everything is belly death, demise. Everything is about the resurrection of his infrastructure. The whole demise of his regime. Everywhere I go in Ottawa. So yeah, there were some hot moments because his boys, and there were a lot of them, these guys rolled around, like escalated up, and they had 5-6 guys on escalators, so they could show up 30 deep, at any point in time. And so the next time that me and Belly meet is because, like I say, I'm putting pressure on him.
Yep.
And I get a radio show host who's just loving all of this. So he allows me to come on the show and say whatever I want.
Oh, shit.
And and basically what I'm saying is what I said to you guys before. Get him here, get him here, get him here. I'm going to show you what a lyrical Ginsu looks like. I'm going to put so many cuts in him, you won't know where the lines start and where they finish. Get him here, get him here. And the guy's loving it because at the time, Belly just kind of got leeway on some things, and now he's starting to gain some momentum. basically. And so his name is getting bigger in the city. He's got more going on. And they're actually making some moves. In his early days, he had a track with Mario and a track with Loon, Fabulous,
Juvenile,
Jada
something,
Kiss, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Some big names.
Yeah, he
Quite
had
a
put in
few.
some work with some big guys, right? And his career was starting to take off as a result of how they kind of, positioned him, right? But at the same time, I'm calling him out, and I'm doing it like, like Daredevil, the man with no fear, because I'm relentless. I won't stop. So he comes.
He came.
He
No
comes.
shit.
We meet at the radio station. Now, here's the interesting part about that night. I had a manager at that time who I let hear the disses to. Okay. This guy got pressured. They rolled up on him. Okay. And basically pressured him to turn over the tapes.
Oh.
Some degree. Okay. And as a result of that, this guy gave up my stuff. He says it happened a different way.
Yeah.
But I've been around long enough.
Yeah, you know what's what.
You just gave me up as an artist. There has to be something bigger in your mind on the horizon. And like I said, Belly was coming up,
gaining steam.
Gaining steam. So what happened was he gave him my tracks and Belly sampled them.
Oh,
took my voice basically and used it against me. So for example, I had a part on the song where I said Belly's #1 on my hit list.
Yeah.
Belly took that and turned it into Belly's #1, Belly's #1 with my voice on his track.
Wow.
That's gotta sting.
Oh, it stings.
Wow.
And when I found out about this at the radio station in
Oh.
the middle of this very heated situation, he came 35 guys deep. We're 5. So it's like 40 of us up in this very small radio station. It's a hot box.
Yeah.
They're pointing cameras around that I don't want pointed.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of tension going on in the room over all of this. And then his song comes on and my voice is in it.
Oh, fuck, man.
Oh, wow.
So what did you feel like at that moment?
Oh, I felt betrayed.
I was going to say, I got to feel betrayed.
I called the dude up. I ran into the next room and called my ex-manager, obviously, up on the phone and was like, what the frig is going on here? And he's like, yeah, I know, Chuck, blah, blah, blah. He tried to act like he didn't have a choice but at the end of the day, I got the feeling he gave it up. But the main thing for me, was that he felt he had to go to those lengths to beat me. You needed that kind of extra ammunition.
Yeah, that's a good point.
To beat me, because my thing is this, at the end of the day, like some people will say that him getting his hands on my track was clever.
Yeah.
These are the same people who'd probably back the type of stuff that Suge Knight did.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So anybody that was cool with what Shook did, right? Then they wouldn't have a problem with what happened, in that particular situation.
Yeah. I see the cleverness to what he did, but you can't deny that was some shady shit. And especially your ex-manager, he's just as fucking bad, if not worse.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful, awful. So now, and this is only about 6 months in, maybe, right? And I'm like, these guys are on their bullshit again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So now the manager's gone. I got to fire shots at him lyrically. I got to call him out now. He's got to get it.
Nobody's safe.
Yeah, nobody's safe because what they're trying to do is dirty. And the thing is that, at the end of the day, if you had played fair, I would have took any outcome that would have happened to me. Kid Twist played fair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I walked away from that. And the funny thing is that Kid Twist is the one who made me say, I'm gonna give up the battle rapping because I realized it wasn't that I felt like I couldn't continue to do great things, but I was gonna have to learn and adapt to this new way of doing things.
Yeah. Because around that time, things started changing around that time. It started leaving the beat format. you had the written format, you know what I mean, as opposed to freestyle format. So yeah, that entire fucking game changed right around that time. You Battle Kid Twist. Yeah.
Freestyle was not really freestyle anymore.
No.
Because for example, when I was really at the peak in battling, you know, when you were called on a freestyle, we knew it was freestyle because somebody from the audience gave you the topic.
Yeah, I've seen lots of that shit before. It's so fucking
you know
cool.
what I mean? Like, you just know when it's a random person that you know is picked randomly.
Yeah.
And they come up with a topic and you both got to go on that topic.
Yeah.
Where are we going to separate the boys from the men?
Exactly.
You know, and just because of my track record, you know, I felt like these moments with Belly and Kid Twist, I felt they were like wake up calls. You know, for me, like, Chuck, you can do better, you know, but you know, you got caught slipping. You can't let that happen again. It doesn't matter really what the situation is.
Yeah.
You got to be 2 steps ahead of things. And that's why I said Kid Twist kind of, you know, made me say, you know what, do I really have the time?
Yeah.
You know, to put into that, because I was trying to pursue other aspects of my career as well.
Exactly. And the pay wasn't that big either, right? So if you put that much work and effort in, it's fucking, it doesn't trade off, especially when you got other things going on.
Back then, the pay was not justified in terms of the time.
And how far is this? How far? Because you're saying you're deciding to quit the battle rap and all that, right? Or having it in your mind.
Good question.
How far? No, hold on. What I'm trying to say is, how far after that is this in the area where you entered the AMAG competition?
Yeah. So basically, I give up battle rap. This is about probably, I would say, 2010. So I did it from like 1980, whatever, till 2010. And then I gave up the battle rap, basically, and really tried to buckle down and use all the knowledge that I learned over the years to really come back out again as a rapper. So AMAG comes into the picture because of Mark again. Mark basically got wind of an AMAG Cash Money audition that was kind of going on with an A&R that was there at the time by the name of Nookie. And he really felt it would be a good opportunity for me to get involved in it. And so he went to bat for me.
Mark's got the nose for some shit, eh?
Yeah, so he went to bat for me and basically told the guy. And Mark was, you know, a big believer, especially when it came to my bars. You know, when it came to being able to put bars and flows together, he was a real big believer in me that way. So he just thought that I would, you know, somewhat do well in that particular competition. And he was able to work his magic and get it in, you know, get us in. Now, you know, I knew it was an important situation too. You know, I knew that these type of opportunities didn't come around every day.
Yeah.
And I knew that this had to be taken very seriously. And at that time I had a rap, not a rap group, but I had guys that backed me up with hype work and, you know, did little fill-ins and stuff on stage. And I gathered them together and I basically said, look, this is the shot. This is it.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for a real opportunity.
Yeah.
Let's take everything in our power that we can do, basically, and let's go for this. Basically, right? And they agreed. They were tired of the results that certain other things had wielded. They felt that the results weren't fair or warranted or justified and that things could be better. So when this real opportunity came to the light, they're like, yeah, let's go. So we have, I think it is 4 months to prepare. Before
better than a twist situation.
Yeah, exactly. We've got about 4 months to get ready for this whole trip, right?
Yeah.
And so we say, okay, we got to make sure our claws are really sharp. So we had a rehearsal regiment that was ridiculous. Like I can't remember the exact number, but it's somewhere between 4,000 to 6,000 hours of rehearsal with the guys. And then I did probably another 12,000 hours of rehearsal alone. Because, you know, the guys only came after work.
Yeah.
So I was home in the day and doing music in the day. So that gave me an opportunity where I could practice my lyrics, practice whatever it was that I was working
How,
on.
how
for that
much
particular-
how much material were you presenting?
I was only presenting, I think it was 4 songs. So my show was probably about
10 minutes?
10
10
minutes.
to 12 minutes.
Mm.
I'd say 12 because I used to do a lot of talking in between sets. So maybe a
Yeah.
little bit more, but no more than 15 for sure. And
Yeah.
at absolute most. So yeah, about anywhere from 4 to 6,000 hours of rehearsal alone, about another 12 to 15,000, by myself, brings it somewhere like close to 20,000 hours of rehearsal.
Mhm. Holy shit.
Before the show, because like I said, it was important to us.
Yeah.
And honestly, as a unit, it was the best we ever sounded.
Nice.
You put in the work, you get the results
For
Yeah.
sure.
every time. And it was as a unit, these guys were doing my background vocals and ad-lib drops and stuff, and they
Mm.
sounded like a church choir.
Oh
Nice.
fuck.
That shit was like,
Oh.
I
So
mean, and I remember back when they couldn't remember the lyrics and they were looking at books, trying to keep up and just, and then to the finalization of everything where, that's all gone. Everybody knows everything off by heart. They know all the choreography. They know everything because we knew where we were going to be.
It was
on
like
stage.
that. There was choreography and everything, huh?
Oh yeah. No, here's the thing. We weren't dancing, but we knew where we were going to be on stage at all times.
Yeah.
And we knew how we wanted to move around.
Yeah.
To keep a good balanced stage at all times and good fluidity in that area.
Yeah,
So,
not to just walk around waving hands on stage.
Yeah.
right?
I've seen, how many people I've seen bumping each other on stage doing that?
Uh-huh. Yeah, or they
Bad
all end up
staging.
on one
Bro,
side or
my
some
last-
shit.
My last
Yeah.
performance, I stepped on my buddy's wire.
Yeah, because you're so, why, okay? Because you're so busy concentrating on the audience
Yeah.
and delivering everything. You're not looking over to the side to go, what's going on with you? You're worried about who's on the floor.
Yeah.
So that's why choreography is so important.
Yeah,
At least
stepped on
just
manatee's
know
wire.
where you're gonna be,
Mhm.
on stage. So basically, we go down to this show. A guy by the name of Nookie is hosting it, and just go down there, give it my all. Basically leave my heart out there on the stage, and then crazy shit happens after that because I'm like, man, I think I had the place rocking pretty good, and my vocal interactions with talking to the crowd, went very well. So I'm like, this should be good. No, I'm thinking to myself, like, hopefully they should call. This should be something. Like, I'm expecting for them to ask for a number, want to meet the next day or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They do none of the above.
Oh shit.
None of the above. They basically meet me, ask me a couple simple questions. How long you been in the game? Where you from?
Yeah.
Standard information, and then that just ends off with a thank you for coming out.
Oh.
I'm like, what?
Shit.
What?
Right? rather here to tell you somebody tell you to fuck off than just tell you.
Yeah, no
nothing, right?
shit.
But Kay, I went home manic depressant.
I could
Damn.
imagine, yeah, man.
I put 20,000 hours of rehearsal time into this.
For a fucking pat on the back.
And
Right?
pretty much. That's what
Thanks
I
for
got.
coming out. Right?
Thanks for
Fuck.
coming out.
Oh,
As much as
man.
they had a few kind words to say about the performance, I'm thinking to myself, well, obviously it's not enough to warrant a phone call after the fact, or no, you guys are acting like you don't want to see me again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And oh man, nobody could talk to me for the next week.
Mm.
I was miserable.
I bet.
Okay. I mean, crawl under a rock. I don't want no light. I don't want no food. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me. I can't
Shit.
eat. I can't think. I'm going nuts. How could this have failed?
Mhm.
How could this have failed? I'm in shock. I'm like freaking out. And like I told you, I knew there was a lot on the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when it looked like it didn't work, I'm like, what the? So that week goes by,
Yeah.
and I'm in a bad state. Right. Me and the wife didn't have too many pleasant conversations. not taking many phone calls,
Yeah.
you know. And then a week passed, and another A&R, not the one that was doing the contest,
Yeah.
but another A&R that works with the company happened to come out to support his, his co-worker.
Mm-hmm.
And he hit me up. And he basically said, look, I saw what you did out there. I'm coming to Montreal in the next little bit. I'd like you to meet up with me. And basically, I want you to send me some music in the meantime. Send me some other music for me to check out and da-da-da-da. So I send him the music. He reviews the stuff. Well, it starts with the stuff I performed.
Mm-hmm.
We went over that first. Then he asked for other music. And then he gave me the good and bad news all at the same time. So the bad news was, for the label at that time, was that my music was outdated. It sounded like to them like music from 10 years before.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as far as they were concerned, they couldn't do anything with that.
Yeah.
Not without artist development and some type of refurbish
Magic
situation type of going on. Because what I was presenting for them was not cutting through the fog at all, right? But then he turns around and goes to me, he goes, but there is, something that's kind of still got you in the game. And he goes, performance-wise, he goes, I've seen a lot of people perform. He goes, performance-wise, top 5 best performers I've ever seen.
Wow.
Ever.
No shit.
Ever. So he goes, the stage for you could be a big thing if you could get your other shit together.
Yeah.
Basically, right? So from there, I proceed to go into some artist development.
So what does this mean to you? Do you mean do you change the beats? Do you change how do you update yourself to 10 years ahead now?
Yes, by changing the sound, by finding another sound that will work for me within this genre of people that are actually buying music today. I have to say the younger generation, because by the time I got to Cash Money, AMAG, I had to been like 45, 46.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
So I was already getting up there, right? And started back in 83, it was a long time spent. So for me, it was about reinventing myself. And the company was basically going to help me, do that. So to speak, that was the plan. So we went on a 6-month voyage, basically where these things were happening. Getting me in the studio, making music, rebranding. Like, so my name Cosigner comes from the rebrand.
Okay.
From AMAG, because before that, people just called me Chuck Ice.
Yeah.
From when I was a rapper, right? But in the rebrand with AMAG, I became I Am the Cosigner, which I use a lot of different ways. I am, Cosigner signature series. I play with it, but it worked for me, because I do help out a lot of artists and I do a lot of things. So the Cosigner thing, helping people get to other levels and stuff like that, I felt that and I gravitated to it during the rebrand. So they didn't have any fuss for me when it came to taking that name. I basically switched over, and I did, like I said, about 6 months artist development. Now for me, things are starting to look real good from my perspective, but from their perspective, I'm not picking up speed quick enough. My age to them is a factor in it. It's not really, to them, it's not really my audience. Like Jay-Z can still rap because Jay-Z to them has been established from a long time ago.
Yeah, he's got.
So this is just a continuation of that establishment.
Exactly. Yeah. Jay-Z came out today with his first album. It's not going to hit the way Reasonable Doubt did.
Right. Exactly.
No chance.
Especially if nobody really knew who Jay-Z was on an
exactly. Yeah.
scale.
Yeah.
So, it was decided basically, after 6 months went by, I got called to a meeting. I was in town. I was doing the locks actually. And they heard I was in town. And they were like, listen, let's go to a meeting after the show the next day. So I hooked up with them. And this is when the whole AMAG and me becoming part of it basically started. This is where the birth to that was given. So they basically said, look, I got good news and I got bad news. Which one do you want first? Always give me the bad news first.
Yeah.
You know, so the bad news was that they no longer wanted to pursue artist development with me. They just felt that I was too old at that point. And yeah, they were no longer interested in pursuing. So that was dead.
Yep.
You know, which, and that hurt me, I gotta be honest. Because for me, like I said, I was gaining momentum.
Yep.
You know, I was on yacht parties with Cash Money execs, and you know, these type of things were giving me looks, you know, and causing other people to tune in that weren't watching before.
Yep.
So for me, my stock value was going up, but to them, it wasn't enough, and they figured by the time it would take for me to actually get it there, I would be too far gone. So they just kind of said, look, we're going to let the artist development deal go. But then they said, look, we got some good news for you, that we'd like to offer you a job. And if you were interested in it, basically we're really excited and interested in having you.
Okay.
You know, and as much as I wasn't excited, I got to be honest, I'm just getting momentum now. Because in my eyes, like I said, the momentum was working to some degree. And I'm like, man, things are just starting to work.
Yeah.
And now you want me to bail on the whole thing. Right? But I had to think about it. I got a family, you know, I have people in my life that depend on me.
Yeah.
And, you know, taking this position kind of, you know, put me in a better position, especially financially, and stuff like that. And also in terms of what I can do and who I had access to. It was just better than me trying to be out there and trying to do this rap thing, quote unquote, against the grain. Right? Basically. Excuse me. So I decided at that point I was going to take them up on their offer. Now, mind you, I was still rapping for 6 months behind closed doors, you know, because I still couldn't get it out of my system. I'm like, come on, man, I'm just getting this thing that you guys wanted me to make the changes. And they were actually like starting to like some of the new music that I was making with this rebranding and rebirth, right? And I'm like, are you serious? Like, you don't want to do it anymore? Oh, man. But they were right. For that time period, things like, I'd have a better chance of rapping now, per se, if I wanted to, because bars are coming back hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Music's doing that cycle, 20-year cycle, like it does in all genres.
That's right.
Yeah.
But when this was all going on, no, that's not what people were interested in. And, you know, so as a result of that, I was not able to turn as many heads. As you know, I was able to do in the past.
So now, through all of this, through all your journey, through all of this interesting stuff with the battles and everything, that now you're at AMAG, you work with Cash Money.
Yes,
right?
sir.
And now let's get to this thing that you have going on right now. Let's get to this tour. Let's talk about this. What's happening with that? You're having you're having stops pretty much cut them near every fucking
every 20 feet.
No,
you know what it is, Kate? You know what it is?
There's a lot of stops, man.
There's a lot of stops, but there's a lot of things in general, because I just find that one thing leads to another. Basically, right? So let's follow the train of thought here.
Okay.
Get with AMAG, start getting out there looking for talent for the company, you know, using that ear that I talked about before, you know, to try to look for talent for the company. You know, it starts there, right? And then the natural effect of that is I'm meeting artists all over the place. St. Louis, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Calgary, Halifax, you know, and then that leads to the next situation, which is the Undeniable album series, which comes before the tour. So the album series was created based on the fact that I just hearing all this good music. And you know, like I got to do something with it. Like, and I knew that I was in a position to kind of help people out a bit, you know? So I'm like, what can I do now that, you know, will really have an impact, that will do something that will help, you know, these people, maybe it's more exposure, maybe it's getting access to new fans in different regions,
For sure,
whatever.
for
Because
sure.
the small things add up,
Yep.
right? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna do an album series, and I decided to call it Undeniable. And I put out Undeniable Volume 1, thinking, well, we'll kind of see how it turns out and kind of go from there.
Mm.
The warmth that I got from that,
Mm-hmm.
like, whoa, I'm about to release a video tomorrow discussing some of that stuff. And
Nice.
in that video, I described the warmth, that I got from people, because now their music was being played. I had this one guy in East St. Louis, and now his track was being played in Philly and Montreal and New York. And, he hit me up and just thankful, about the opportunity. And it's like, okay,
Nice.
good. I'm glad it's getting somewhere. It's working. People are paying attention. This is good. And then a little bit more time went by. I said, okay, Undeniable Volume 2, and went back at it again, dropped that. And then COVID hit, slowed me
That
down a
fucking
little
thing.
bit,
Yeah, everyone.
messed up all my touring plans and everything that I was doing in that department. And basically, I had to sit around for those 2 years, hoping and dreaming that things would return to normal,
Mm-hmm.
so that we could get back out on the road
Yeah.
and, really start to do the things that we were doing before again, right?
Yeah.
And took about, I guess, 2.5 years before that happened. And then the moment that happened, I said, okay, that's it. Now the spin-off, the tour. So we're gonna go from AMAG to meeting artists to, all over the place, to basically Undeniable Volume 1 to Undeniable Volume 2 to the tour now that's going, it's got dates all over North America. And
So you got you. Sorry, I didn't pay too close of attention to. Is there some American stops too?
yeah, there are some American stops.
American stops. Perfect.
And I'm in conversation with Detroit right now too, as well, which is obviously another.
Oh, we got some great people in Detroit.
Yeah, I'm trying to secure the venue right now to put Detroit
Shout
as
out
the
to Time.
last stop on the tour, And the thing is, again, like the theme for this is, featuring talented up and coming artists from across North America.
Yeah.
Get to
No,
know
it's a
them.
great idea, definitely.
So the artists will switch up from show to show, at least slightly, or is
Yeah. So what it did was it gave the artists that were on the albums the opportunity first, like almost right out the gate, to get involved with the tour. So the ones that like the idea of going from, okay, I was just on the album, now I have an opportunity to tour. They were able to basically get in touch with me, and we were able to figure out a way to make that happen, right? And then there would be local artists from each city that would also get involved, which would bring again new faces, from every town, basically, that we're touching down. So this combination effect of having artists fly in from here and there, and then artists locally, and then just putting it all together in a melting pot, so that everybody can be there for the performance, for the people, but also, if you hear somebody that you like that night, I encourage them, reach out, talk to them, let them know, or her, how you feel about their music. And, I want to jump on a song with this person, or, maybe it is that you want to do something else, but this is the opportunity, because you've been brought together under the Undeniable banner. Basically, and you're getting the opportunity from there. Exactly. So that's kind of how it works. The tour is not an AMAG project, we'll discuss AMAG, what we do there in a sec, but it's still affected by AMAG, because I wouldn't know the artists that I know if I wasn't doing my job, because not everybody, here's the thing, not everybody's a fit for cash money, right? And even, regardless of that, everybody needs exposure. You know what I mean? So a lot of times when we're working, with AMAG cash money with an artist, there's a lot of things we'll take care of. And so that may not be needed. But in certain cases, it could be beneficial. Maybe I have a tour that's coming to a town that an artist is in, and they want to do more shows this summer. You know what I mean? So there's also that spin over, dynamic. So The art, yeah, and another cool thing is that if your music is on Undeniable,
Mhm.
well, then that means that, I've encouraged the DJs to spin songs from those albums, tracks from those albums as they're playing music throughout the night. I've encouraged them to talk to the crowd about where this music comes from. My boy Crazy K out of Atlanta, make some noises off of Undeniable Volume 1. Let's go. Just again to keep pushing that. And then, I can get video clips of that, then send that to them in Atlanta, East St. Louis, Jackson,
Yeah.
wherever they are, in Canada even, and now they're seeing this moment go down with their music playing, people partying to their songs, and they're not even in the room.
Yeah. That's
They're
dope.
not even in the room.
That's dope.
That's great.
You know what I mean? So that added dynamic of letting the DJs know that this is part of the criteria. It's an undeniable project. There needs to be undeniable sound.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying play, every song back to back undeniable. I'm saying
mix it in
throughout the night,
right,
and talk about it when it's happening. Let them know that why these songs are different.
Are you gonna keep going with this? There's gonna be an Undeniable 3?
Yeah. So Undeniable. So I'm actually launching 2 albums before the tour starts July 8th. So they're both undeniable projects, but they're different. So one is Undeniable 2.1, which is boom bap utopia. I want the best boom bap artists that I can find in North America on that project. And the other one is Undeniable Volume 3, which is the tour edition.
Oh, okay.
Basically, because again, music from all undeniables will be played on the tour. And because this undeniable was created during the tour, it is the tour edition, basically. So those albums are going to be coming out, and even UK, I want to talk to you about Boom Bap Utopia because you're a dope artist yourself, a man of many hats. The man of many hats. So
for sure, I'm ready to work, man.
And really want to just end this summer on a really high note. If we don't go to Detroit, we're gonna end the tour in my hometown, which is kind of how I wanted it here in Montreal.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna end it here, and just do it up as big as possible.
When are you in KW again?
We're in Toronto on the 5th, and then we're in KW on the 6th.
On the 6th. Okay.
July 6th?
Basically. And the cool thing
we're gonna try to give it a little extra push around here,
I appreciate that.
Let people know.
And the cool thing about the event you just mentioned in KW, actually, I better say Cambridge.
Cambridge.
It's actually in Cambridge. The cool thing about it is that it's a 12-hour event.
Yeah, it's a whole fest, right? It's a whole fest.
Yeah, so the thing about that party is that it enabled me to be able to do a lot of cool stuff. So in the daytime, before the actual showcase happens, it's free to get in. And we're going to have open mic, group ciphers, listening parties, all that kind of stuff going on in the day.
That's going to be dope,
so
man.
Who's ever, entered into those things, signed up for those things, they'll be able to tell their friends to, come by. Bar will be fully open. Food will be serving. Everything will be there for everybody. And people can just come in and out as they please.
That's dope.
During the day, and then we go to the showcase. Doors open at 9 for the showcase. You need a ticket to get in for that. And then that goes to about 11:30, 12 on the outside. And then we go into basically after party, call it meet and greet, smooge, where you get to talk to people and just kind of interact basically on how the overall night went, right? So that Cambridge party is a special one because of all the different opportunities, and it's not every day that you can do open mic and these type of things. Like you have a better chance of finding karaoke than you do a properly organized open mic.
For sure.
You
We
know
need
what I
something
mean?
like that. Yeah, we need more of it, man. We
Yeah.
need
Yeah,
to, we
'cause
need to have this fucking thing rolling through every once a year. You know what I mean?
I agree with you 100% because the thing is when we do an open mic event, like we organize it and
Mhm.
we really make sure that the artists are comfortable, but not
Mhm.
only that, but just that everything is flowing the way that you'd expect it to.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
because those when glitches come up and stuff and delays and this and that, people get thrown off their
I was
momentum.
just gonna say that, right? A less experienced artist that could fuck their whole night up. They might
For
be
sure.
in the zone
Yeah,
to have their best performance so far in their career, but you know, any little thing goes off and it just screws them up, right? The
it's
rest
so
of their
true.
set.
And I don't want to be the guy to screw them up,
No.
you know, by
No.
putting them through that stuff. So I run a very tight ship. I had a guy say to me the other day, he goes, you know, some of the artists are afraid that the show's going to be overbooked and they're not going to get to play. And, you know, I said, tell them they got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever overbooked a show. And
Mhm.
if I have, it hasn't been in the last decade.
Mhm.
Everything is, you know, it's run like
Proper.
clockwork. That's the goal. We have good insight on how we're going to be moving, you know, before these things even happen.
That's what we need to hear from people that throw shows. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because sometimes events get out of fucking control, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like with what you got going on now, we really want to push it not only for the KW Cambridge area, but the other dates you have as well, right? Get it out
I
there as much as
appreciate
possible.
that.
Because it's like friggin' we love hip hop, right? We're a big part of the culture our entire lives. Fuck Krill raps, right? I don't even
course,
attempt
of
that,
course.
right? It's just so if we can, you know,
Yeah, so-
contribute to it, give back to it, and create more opportunities, more
Right.
shows like this, fucking great. And you're doing it, right? So why wait for someone else to come along? You're right here. You're making it happen. Let's fucking
I
push.
appreciate that. I really, really do because we want to do this thing up as big as possible. And I don't sleep a lot right now because really honestly, my ever thought is, okay, what can I do to make the tour better? What can I do to make the tour better?
Yeah.
What can I do to make the tour better? It's aggravating for the wife, of course,
I
because
bet.
she reaches over and I'm gone out the bed and I'm in front of a laptop, you know, a lot of the time, you know. and we go
3:30
to
in the morning.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it goes to the wee hours. The sun's coming up, and you know,
Yeah.
I'm still not going down sometimes.
Yeah.
But you know, if you don't strive for things, you'll never
for
achieve
sure.
anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Work hard is what we're about, man. We're for
You
sure.
gotta work hard. You gotta be consistent, and you have
Dedicated.
To be, you know, you have to be disciplined. And the thing is that if you know, I had have known the stuff that I know now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I do publishing seminars. I have
Oh wow.
this other guy that I do publishing seminars with. He has a Grammy with Aretha Franklin.
Whoa.
But more importantly, he's got like 150 TV and movie placements, and he really has a lot of insight on how to get your stuff placed.
Yeah.
You know, he has also a lifetime deal with VH1, so which means that whenever they're making new shows, they
Yeah.
give him an opportunity to construct music for that show, and if they like, you
Wow.
know, what he's bringing to the table, they'll offer him a
crazy.
deal based
That's-
on it. So it's great.
That's got to be a good gig.
Oh man, it's a great gig.
And
It's also endorsed
VH1
by
one.
Roland.
Oh
You know,
man.
so any new equipment that comes out on the market, he gets
Yeah.
to test it all out.
Shit.
And, you know, also he's produced tracks with Snoop Dogg, Talib Kweli, Little Kim, Bone
Wow.
Thugs and Harmony.
Whoa.
You know, so yeah, he's got a gold record with Bone Thugs. You know the thing there. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. It's called the Hamilton Hip Hop Opera that came
No.
out about a year ago.
No.
Not
So
sure.
What's
it was
that?
a huge thing online, and he produced a track on that for Ja Rule and Ashanti
Okay.
called Helpless.
Okay.
Basically, so he's, you know, got his hands in everything. Oh, I'm leaving out the most important thing. So he worked for Ron Lawrence basically during the Puff Daddy peak years.
Whoa.
And Ron Lawrence is the guy who made the beat for Hypnotize.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Part
Which
of
is,
the hit.
you know, like one of Biggie's biggest tracks, right?
Yeah.
And so he worked very closely with him for 7 years before going on to do all this TV and film stuff. And he's really, really helpful when it comes to getting certain points across, you know, when we're doing these seminars. You know, artists don't realize that, you know, every time you do a performance somewhere, anywhere. You're supposed to be paid for that. And I don't mean by the promoter. I don't mean that every promoter has to pay you. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is there's a back door. When the promoter pays you, that's the front door, right? But there's a royalty there that gets paid out regardless if you understand the publishing administration procedures and what needs to be done in those areas in order to be able to get all your publishing, because that's a big part of it, is that at the end of the accounting year, this stuff is non-retroactive, so you can't get the money back once it's gone. In a lot of these cases, if you didn't put it in your income tax when you filed it for whatever year you were filing your income tax, if it's not there, if you discover it, let's say on your next income tax, or not on the income tax, but when you're doing your next income tax, and say, oh, now that I know, I'm gonna go back and apply for, no, it's gone.
It's gone.
Once it's been calculated, it's gone. So it's very important that you get your money when it's available. It's also very important to understand where your money is. Now I tell artists, you don't have to know necessarily how to go get it, because that may be complicated, or a little bit more complicated or time consuming than the artist may have time for, right? But as long as you know where your money is, you can always send somebody that knows how to get money out of those locations to go get it. But if you don't know that you've got money, YouTube has a bunch of different, payment things that you deal with.
Way to monetize it.
The average artist, like let's say commercials, for example, like when you put a video out there and you look a week later and there's a commercial now that's been slapped in front of your thing. You're going to play your video, but you got to go through the commercial now first. You're supposed to be getting paid from that. But the thing is, you can't get paid from those things if your publishing administration is not set up properly. That's why
we could get
this is why I started these publishing seminars, classes, courses, because there was just too many artists that were losing too much money, and it was driving me nuts, knowing that they're making money, even some even more than others, but they don't even realize that the money's there. Income tax time comes, it's tax season again. They didn't know, it gets written off, and listen, you got to understand, when I found out about this, I had already lost money on like 40 songs I released on YouTube. You understand? So
No, we should definitely get back to this, bro, and we should cover it some other time. I wanna talk a bit more about the tour. I've seen that you have a headliner for some dates around here in Ontario. So I was gonna maybe touch down on that a bit before we wrap up, because I do have other things scheduled.
Of course.
I honestly thought we're gonna go for an hour, and we're going for an hour and a half now. I'm down to do 2 hours, no problem though. You know what I mean? It's just
it's absolutely cool, and I get it completely. So,
how it is.
The question about the tour, can you give it to me again, please?
Yeah. I was gonna say, I've seen that you have a headliner there for 2 or 3 towns, maybe something like that. Sorry, I don't remember the name. It started with a C. Carvery, yes. And I've seen the video dropped. So I was gonna say, if you want to come back on with him maybe for another show for about an hour.
Absolutely. Carvery would love to come on and kick it.
For sure. That's what I was gonna say once we were getting closer to the end.
That's what I'm saying, because I'm trying to wrap it up. Like I said, I'm sorry, but I have to run for 8 o'clock.
No problem. So I'll answer your question about the headliners. Every city basically had a different situation go on in terms of the area, based on what that area gravitates to. So, for example, I have a movie actor that's been in 25 major motion pictures. That you've seen, right? X-Men, Days of Futures Past, Brick Mansions, the list just goes on and on. So I was able to get him to host a lot of dates, but not every day. So I'd say he's on 85% of the tour. He's on the Cambridge date that we discussed earlier. Nice. He's on all the Southwestern Ontario dates and all the East Coast dates. So the thing is, it was just really based on the city. I talked to my people on the ground and the promoters that I was working with in each individual city, and basically said, okay, look, what do we need to make this show work in each cities. Some people felt that they needed Anderson, the actor, to be there, you know, so we brought him in, added a full meet and greet. Other people felt that having Carvery there would be a good look, and so on and so forth. So we just did it regionally, so to speak. So every city is pretty much got a different situation going on, even though you will see Carvery headlining, you know, in more than one location, you know, and other artists, another cat, Verbal Vortex, Dalen Grimard, guys like this that will be headlining in other situations.
That's
but
what I was
it'll
gonna
be a
say.
collage. It'll be mixed in with other artists as well.
If you feel like you want to give some of these guys an extra voice, let's organize one more show where we can run through, you know what I mean? Maybe you can get 2 or 3 of them together or something.
Yeah, they don't even have to be on the same time. They can come in one after another.
We would do the Zoom conference or whatever that
Hey,
is. And
let me tell you something. I appreciate the love that you guys gave me here tonight. So you just let me know, okay, when you guys think that you could squeeze that in.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
Give me, like, let's say 48 hours.
Yeah, that's what I say, a couple days or something to get
Give me
everything
a couple
organized.
of days before, when you're ready to do it, and I will get some really cool people, you know, involved.
Honestly, I will make sure that I have like 2-3 hours, because I honestly thought we're gonna quickly talk about the show, you know what I mean, about the tour. But we got into the
you're a fucking vault of information, my friend.
Let me tell you something.
The kid twist, all of that shit was to entertain and to cut you off.
I know,
and I appreciate that. I appreciate you tolerated me for the extra time. I really do.
No, it's not tolerating. That was entertaining. That's not tolerating.
That was awesome. Not only that, but I'm having a good time with you guys here, so I'm not even watching the clock.
That's nice, right? And I've really fucked up. I should have scheduled a bit more, but like I said,
no, it's good. We'll set up another date, and that will allow me to process anything that we didn't cover in regards to the tour.
Exactly.
Make sure to get it out in the next conversation. And I'm gonna give you a call, Kay, anyway, like probably, I don't know, tomorrow. So that we can really get into the nitty-gritty of the Cambridge show and all that good stuff. Yo, Jay, I appreciate it, bro.
I'm glad you gave us some of your time, man. This was great. So much insight. And that's like, it sucks that Kirill has to be somewhere, because I'm like, fuck, I'm loving this.
Hey, let me tell you something.
The publishing, the branding, all that stuff. Not a lot of people know about that shit that can talk about it, right? Usually it's just artists we have on the show. Right, so they can't talk about that. So this is such a unique conversation.
That's why I'm scheduling it before we even fucking end it. That's why we need another one. You know
I get it completely. So, gentlemen, I thank you for your time.
Thanks for coming.
Is there on Facebook?
Maybe any?
We're on there. Yeah.
Anything maybe you want to plug in before we leave? Maybe any? I don't know. Anything else but the show?
Yeah. What I want to say is this before I go: that you got to be dedicated to everything that you do. You got to believe in yourself, even when people don't believe in you. You've got to be willing to reach to places that other people are not willing to go to get done what needs to get done. And at the end of the day, you will cry tears of joy from the work, because there's nothing like doing it with your own hands, with your own mind, with your own vision. So people that want to do this, hey, you got to be prepared to go the distance. The competition is fierce, but if you love it like we love it, then just do it. Just do it. Put the hours in that are required. Be that craftsman that you can be, because there's no sense for you to be out there partially. You need to be out there being 100% of what you could be. A lot of the knowledge that I know, I learned it online. Yes, I've been around some really cool, you know, heavyweight people in the industry. But most of the knowledge that I learned it online, studying, watching videos, comparing it to other things that I heard other people say. So be all you can be, do all you can do, and that will give you the best chance and the best opportunity to really see what you're made of when it comes down to it. You're gonna need that.
You get back what you put in.
For you. That's what I wanted to close with here today. A lot of work, you know, because they often talk about the music and we often talk about this, the performances and but the work is where it all starts from. We'll never get to that stage without that. So I really wanted you guys as audience to take that home with them tonight. It starts with the work ethic and what you're willing to do. Everything will fall into place from there.
For sure.
Everything will fall into place. So I hope
that's definitely the words of wisdom, bro.
If one person today heard that, one person gets that, then I feel good about it because it's real. And there's a lot of lazy people out there. They may be great artists, but you got to get off your ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to be a politician to be a rapper.
Yeah.
Got to be out there, and you got to, you got to socialize with people. You got to make people like you, want to be around your company, make people want to talk about you to other people, just to keep your brand continually flowing. Work. That all comes from dedication, work, study, time, and placement. So that's what I wanted to leave you guys with tonight.
Thanks a lot,
Grind
brother.
comes first, baby. The grind comes first.
For sure.
Real, Jay, hey, nothing but love. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
What's up?
Thank you, my friend. All right.
Look forward to part 2, baby.
Fuck
For
yeah,
sure.
in the very
Part
near future.
For sure, for sure.
For Cosigner, Kirill Kasatskiy, I'm Jay Kelly. This is Building Downtown. We out. Peace.
Building downtown, building downtown, building downtown, building downtown.